When I told my in-laws we were expecting again, my mother-in-law rolled her eyes and said, "Another one. You can't even handle the first." Then she turned to my husband and asked, "Are you even sure it's yours?" I felt the blood leave my face. I didn't cry. I called my OB the next day and had paternity results sent to their address before they even got the baby shower invite. We live in a quiet suburb outside Columbus, Ohio. I've been with Mark for almost 7 years now. Married for 5. We've had our share of ups and downs, but we've always come out stronger. Or so I thought. Our daughter Rosie is 3 now. She's got my hair and Mark's eyes. She's wild and funny and so full of life. Raising her hasn't been easy. We both work full-time, but we've made it work. I thought we were ready to add another to our family. I thought everyone would be happy. I was wrong. We decided to tell his family at a Sunday dinner. His mom, Darlene, hosts them once a month. It's usually awkward, but I try to show up and smile for the sake of family. That night, it was the usual group: Darlene, her husband Rick, Mark's brother Mike, his wife Kayla, and Mark's Aunt Barbara. I had Rosie hand Darlene a little gift bag when we walked in. Inside was a tiny onesie that said "Big Sister" in pink letters. Rosie was excited. She knew she was going to be a big sister, and she couldn't stop smiling. Darlene opened the bag, took one look, and let out a laugh. Not a happy one, more like a scoff. She held up the onesie and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Another one? You can't even handle the first." I stood there frozen. My cheeks burned. I looked at Mark, waiting for him to say something. He looked stunned, but he didn't open his mouth. He just stared at the table. Then Darlene turned to him and said, "Are you even sure it's yours?" The room went dead silent. I felt like I got punched in the gut. My stomach dropped. Everyone heard her. No one said a word. Rick cleared his throat, like he wanted to say something, but didn't. Mike looked uncomfortable and Kayla just looked down at her plate. And Barbara shifted in her seat. Mark just sat there. He didn't defend me. He didn't defend our child. I smiled. Not because I was okay, but because I needed to hold it together. I took Rosie's hand and said she was getting tired. I left without dessert, without saying goodbye. Mark stayed behind. He didn't come home until late. I was awake, waiting. He acted like it hadn't even happened. Said Darlene didn't mean it like that and that she jokes around sometimes. I asked him why he didn't say anything. He shrugged and said he was caught off guard. I slept on the couch. The next morning, I dropped Rosie off at daycare and called my OB. I asked if we could run a paternity test using the samples they already had on file from my first pregnancy. It was doable. I paid extra to rush it. A few days later, the results came in. 99.999% match. No doubt. Just as I knew. I had the report printed and sent by certified mail to Darlene's house. No note. No explanation. Just cold, hard proof. Then I sent out the baby shower invitations. I didn't include her. And that was just the start. About a week after I sent out the paternity results, Mark got a call at work. It was his dad, Rick. He wanted to meet man-to-man. I only found out later that Rick had opened the letter before Darlene did. She'd left it on the kitchen counter unopened, probably assuming it was another baby-related announcement. Rick read the results and apparently lost it on her. Mark came home that night with a weird look on his face. Not angry. Not sad. Just weird. Like something broke inside him. He sat down and said, "My dad said Mom crossed a line." I didn't say anything. I just waited. She told him she never believed Rosie looked like me. That she thought you probably cheated back then too. She said she didn't want to say anything in case it wasn't true. I laughed. Out loud. I couldn't help it. That woman had been coming over every week after Rosie was born, acting like the doting grandma, and the whole time she was whispering poison behind my back. Mark said Rick told her to apologize. But she refused. She told him, and I quote, I have a right to question things when it affects my son's life. I asked Mark what he thought, and he just said, I don't know anymore. That pissed me off more than anything. He still couldn't stand up for me. The next morning, I sent a group text to Mark's whole family. I told them the baby shower was still happening, but Darlene wasn't invited. I said anyone who had a problem with that could stay home too. No hard feelings. Kayla texted back 5 minutes later, we'll be there. Mike didn't say anything. Rick called me personally. He apologized. He said he didn't know Darlene felt that way and that he was embarrassed. I believed him. He sounded ashamed. Mark, though? Mark got angry. He said I was dragging family into drama and airing dirty laundry. I told him, your mother called me a cheater. In front of our family. And you sat there and said nothing. He got quiet. Then he said something that changed everything. She just wants what's best for me. I stared at him. I didn't even have words for how wrong that was. That wasn't love. That was control. That was manipulation. I told him, if you think that's what's best, then maybe you should go live with her for a while. He packed a bag and left. No fight. No yelling. Just silence. But the silence didn't last long, because 2 days later, I found out Darlene was telling people I had faked the paternity test. The lie spread fast. At first, it was just a weird vibe I picked up from Kayla when she dropped something off for the baby shower. She was quieter than usual, kind of stiff. I asked if everything was okay. She said she was just tired and left quickly. That same night, I got a message from one of Mark's cousins, Jessica. She and I weren't close, but we were friendly. Her text said, hey, just wanted to let you know. Darlene's been telling people you faked that paternity test. Said you know someone at the clinic. I sat there rereading the message over and over. The OB's office is a private women's health center on the other side of Columbus. We don't know anyone there personally. I called them the next morning, told them what was going on, and asked if they could send a notarized copy of the results signed by the lab director. They said yes. I had it sent straight to my house this time. Mark still hadn't come home. He called maybe once a day to check on Rosie. He didn't ask about me. Didn't ask about the baby. He didn't bring up Darlene. It was like he was hiding from everything. Then, 2 nights before the baby shower, Mike showed up at my door. He looked upset. Real upset. I just came from my parents' house, he said. I heard what Mom's been saying. It's out of control. Apparently, Darlene had hosted some kind of casual family brunch. Just a few aunts and cousins. And she went on a full rant about how the test was just paper, how anyone can print something off and mail it, and how nothing is proven unless it's done in court. Mike told me he argued with her. That Rick backed him up. But Mark? He said Mark just sat there again. Didn't say a thing. Just like that night at dinner. That's when I made a decision. I went to the courthouse the next morning and filed a petition. Not for divorce. Not yet. But I asked for an official court-ordered paternity test. Not because I needed the result. I already knew. I needed it in the system. With a paper trail. Something no one could ever call fake again. Mark was served the next day. That was when everything exploded. The day Mark got served the court order, he came storming into the house for the first time in over a week. I was in the kitchen with Rosie. He didn't knock. Just walked in like he still lived there. His face was red. He slammed the papers down on the table. What the hell is this? He snapped. I stayed calm. It's a court-ordered paternity test. Since the first one wasn't enough for your mother, maybe a judge will convince her. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. You're doing all this for what? To prove something to my mom? No, I said. I'm doing it to prove something to myself. That I'm not crazy. That I'm not going to let anyone treat me like trash and walk away clean. He started pacing. You embarrassed me. You made this a public thing. I pointed to Rosie, who was staring at both of us now. Your mom questioned her. Not me. Her. You didn't stop it. You didn't defend her. That's your shame, not mine. He stood still then. Quiet. For a second, I thought maybe he'd finally get it. But instead, he just picked up the papers and walked out. The test was scheduled for the following week. I showed up early with Rosie and the OB's signed copy of the first test. Mark came late. Darlene came with him. She had the nerve to smile at me like nothing happened. I didn't say a word to her. Not even a glance. When the results came back, it was what we all knew: Mark was the father. No questions. No gray area. But by then, the damage was already done. A week after the court sent the results, I served Mark again. This time with divorce papers. He tried to talk me out of it. Said we could do counseling. Said his mom would cool off. But I was done. You had a chance to stand up for me. You had a chance to protect your daughter. You chose silence. He cried. I didn't. I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. Then I did one more thing. I posted the full story, every detail, on Facebook. Not out of pettiness. Out of truth. I included a photo of the notarized test. The court ordered one. I tagged Mark. I tagged Darlene. I tagged Mike and Kayla and anyone else who'd been in that room. And I wrote, "To those who stood by while lies were told about me and my child, you don't get to act confused now. I am done keeping quiet to protect other people's comfort. I am not ashamed. You should be." The fallout was instant. Mike called me and said Darlene had a breakdown. Cried for hours. Said I humiliated her. Good. Kayla said the family was divided now and everyone blamed Darlene. Good. Mark moved in with a friend. I heard Rick finally left Darlene, said he couldn't live with the toxicity anymore. And me? I kept the house. I got full custody. I gave birth to a healthy baby boy. I named him James. And when I mailed out the birth announcements, I included a copy of the paternity test. Just one last reminder. You only get to burn me once. After that, I light the match.